My caterer went to federal prison. Welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Kendra. I make all kinds of different content on here, including story times, art videos, tutorials, tiny home cleaning, whatever. If you're interested in any of those things, don't forget to go watch the other playlists on my channel, like, subscribe, comment, all the things. Today, I am bringing to you an update on my caterer story. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. I'll have it linked somewhere in the description or above or below, somewhere where you guys can go watch it. But I know I said I was not going to give an update on that story because I didn't have any new information at the time that I recorded it, and I really didn't think that any other updates would be necessary. I really didn't think that anything else would ever come of this case. However, I have some shocking new information that has come to my attention that I am going to bring to you guys today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So just a brief little recap. If you guys don't know, I got married on October 30th of last year, so 2021. We had booked a caterer that was supposed to bring a whole like 4-course meal, our wedding cake, 2 servers to cut the cake and serve all of our food, plus our tables, plates, silverware, napkins, cutlery, something to slice the cake with, drinks, cups, all kinds of things. Like, we had basically bought her like highest tiered package, including all the things. And I had email correspondences with her up until like 5 days before our wedding, like her letting us know that everything was good, everything was in line. We paid our full deposit with her, and I had kept checking in. She had all of our allergy lists and everything. Like, communications were up to date with her, and I had no reason to suspect that anything was going to go awry with our caterer. However, I got an email the morning of my wedding from my caterer canceling on us the morning of our wedding. So we ended up having to have our wedding emergency catered by 2 local businesses here in Pigeon Forge, and everything was fine. They were able to emergency cater our wedding for us, and Publix was able to emergency make a wedding cake for us because we didn't even have a wedding cake on our wedding day. All of that being said, if you want a more detailed explanation, story time as to what happened on the day of my wedding, you can go back and watch that video. But we were able to get our money back for the services that she was supposed to provide. So she ended up apparently getting a loan through like a bank or something, and she was able to supposedly pay off a lot of the brides that she had not attended their weddings, or had attended but had not brought everything that she was supposed to bring, or to the standard with which she was supposed to bring them, with which she had promised her guests, or her customers. That's the story on that, and all of the most recent updates before this one are also in that story time, so you guys can go back and watch that. However, I have been made aware of a new article that has come out about our caterer. So if you don't know, the business before that we had hired to cater our wedding was called the Happy Pinecone Cafe. They actually had a storefront on Glades Road in Gatlinburg. So that was like one of the main attractions for a lot of the brides, was that she was a local business, local caterer here in Tennessee, and a lot of brides have destination weddings here in Tennessee, and a lot of them are wanting to support a small business with their food choices and catering and things like that. She didn't only do weddings, she also did like small events and bridal showers and bachelorette parties and things like that. So if you go to her business page, which this business doesn't exist anymore, she had opened a new catering business under Malachi 3 Cafe. However, that only has 1 review, and it looks like it's been inactive for a while. So I'm assuming that she didn't get very far with that new business, or didn't have the money to fund it, or something. I don't know. But obviously, all of us brides who were affected by her previous business didn't want her to just get away with opening up another business where she was going to scam more brides. So a lot of the reviews under her new business are associated with what she did to the brides under the Happy Pinecone Cafe business. So obviously her actions have followed her over to her new business, which as it should. But there's a recent article that has come out that I want to read to you guys. This was actually posted on July 15th of this year, so it's just now coming to my attention, but it's a couple months old. But I will have it linked obviously in the description below if you guys want to read it for yourself. But it is titled "Third East Tennessean Charged with Fraud for Misuse of Federal COVID Funds." So my caterer's name is Sarah Wilhite, and she was the owner of the Happy Pine Cone Cafe. She had owned that business, I think, for a little over a year when we booked her services, and she had great reviews prior to us booking her services. So I'm not really sure where it started to go downhill for her, or like where she started to not fulfill her catering orders. But like I said, you can go back and watch my previous video and I'll go into more in depth on those details. But so I'm gonna go ahead and get into reading this article to you guys, and then I'll just kind of comment where I see fit. So, a Maryville woman who claimed she needed COVID emergency relief funds to keep her Christian ministry afloat instead used the money to fund a trip to Disney, buy land, 2 trucks and a travel trailer, and pay off her student loans, court records show. Sarah Denton Wilhite has struck a deal to plead guilty to wire fraud in connection with a Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or CARES Act, loan she received from the Small Business Administration last year, according to documents filed in the U.S. District Court last week. Assistant U.S. Attorney William A. Roach Jr. wrote in a plea agreement made public Friday that Wilhite conned the SBA into awarding her $336,600 in economic injury disaster loan funding last year for a Christian-based recovery house that did not exist. I just want to interject here and say that I actually have been in contact with William Roach, who is the attorney on this case. My mom had sent me his phone number and the article and said, you know, get in contact with him if he needs any information from you pertaining to the case. So that's what I did, and I will of course blur out his phone number, but I'll put a screenshot up somewhere with the text message that I sent to him, but I'll go ahead and read it to you guys as well. Monday, whenever I received this article from my mom and his phone number, I sent him a text message that reads, "Hello, Mr. Roach. My name is Kendra Patton Kingery, and I was one of the brides affected in the Happy Pine Cone Cafe case. My husband and I hired her to cater our wedding on October 30th, 2021, and she sent an email the morning of our wedding canceling on us. I still have all of our correspondences. If there's anything you need from me pertaining to the case, I would be more than happy to provide it. Thank you." So I'm not really sure like exactly what he's looking for or what, you know, things he might need from me, but I just want to keep that communication open, that door open, in case he needs anything that would strengthen the case against her, because I'm sure, at last I heard, there were like 32 or 33 other brides that were affected by this. So I'm sure that he has just an abundance of information, but anything that will solidify the case against her, I think would be helpful, given that there's a number of brides that haven't received any refunds from her whatsoever, and we were just one of the select lucky few that happened to get our money back from her. But I'll get into that here in a second. So I'm also in a group called Brides Affected by the Happy Pine Cone, and I mentioned this in my previous video, but every so often there are updates on the case, either by the person who started the group, or there was an attorney that was going to do work for us pro bono. I don't think that ended up happening, and then there was talk of doing like all of us suing her at once, but I don't think that ever came to fruition either. So the most recent post that I have from that page is from one of the moderators of the page, like someone who was trying to get us in touch with an attorney, and they said, "At this point, I have tried to contact you all personally. If I forgot anyone, my apologies. There's a movement and news towards justice, and while y'all may never get your money back, there is indeed about to be a reckoning for old Sarah Wilhite. Please contact me if I missed you, and I will fill you in and tell you who to speak to." So I'm assuming this is in reference to the article that I'm reading to you guys, and I'm assuming that he's going to get everyone in contact with William Roach, who is the district attorney. That's what I'm assuming that's about, but I already got the information from someone else. So the apparent Christian-based recovery house that didn't exist was apparently, allegedly, a part of a scheme that Wilhite submitted an electronic loan application on behalf of Rescue Army Nation Ministries, which was the name of this supposed business, that purportedly provided a faith-based rehabilitation and counseling services to individuals. Wilhite claimed that she employed as many as 8 people at the faux ministry, which she listed as being located on Glades Road in Gatlinburg. Now, her actual business, the Happy Pine Cone Cafe, was located on Glades Road in Gatlinburg. She listed her new restaurant, which is Malachi 3 Cafe, as also the same location on Glades Road. So it seems like she's listing all of these businesses out of the same building, the same location on Glades Road. So that's also where she claimed that this rescue rehabilitation ministry was located too. So Wilhite knew that statement was false, as Rescue Army Nation Ministries did not employ any individuals. When the SBA asked Wilhite to provide tax records for the ministry, she responded with a 2-page typed letter in which the defendant claimed that Rescue Army Nation Ministries was a faith-based mission and therefore exempt from taxation. So she's trying to do this, but she's not very good at it. The way that she went about doing this just screams bad criminal going to get caught. So, like, not even, like, smart about doing it. She followed up the letter with a fake profit and loss statement claiming the ministry had generated $208,760 in income in 2019, of which $198,000 came from client rent payments and $2,760 from donations, a plea agreement stated. Wilhite knew that these claims were false and that she had fabricated the 2019 profit and loss statement solely for the purpose of obtaining EIDL funds to which she was not entitled. The SBA approved the application in December 2021 and wired Wilhite $336,600 as a result. Roach said in the plea agreement that Wilhite used the money on herself. So December 2021 was 2 months after my wedding. So this was around the time that we had received a text message from her, and this is in my previous video, saying that she had obtained a loan finally and that she was going to be able to pay us back and the brides back. I don't know exactly how much she owes to the various brides that she hasn't paid back, but I'm pretty sure that a chunk of this money went to refunding our catering services, because this is around the same time that we got our money back from her. So that's interesting to say the least. Wilhite used $47,728 of the EIDL funds to purchase a 2017 Toyota Tundra, which she registered in her own name. Between December 17, 2021 and continuing until January 28, 2022, Wilhite spent approximately all of the EIDL funds on personal items or expenses, including to pay off a Disney World trip, to pay off her student loans, and to pay taxes she owed on a different business. Also to purchase a tract of land in Cott County that she titled in her own name, and to purchase 2 vehicles and a travel trailer, each of which she titled in her own name. Defendant also transferred a portion of the EIDL funds to her personal checking account. So I'm assuming the other business that she was paying off was the Happy Pine Cone, either that one or Malachi 3, but I'm not exactly sure when Malachi 3 was open, so I'd have to cross-reference that. Court records show that Wilhite struck a deal earlier this month to skip a grand jury review in the case and plead guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. She's agreeing to repay the SBA and the original amount of the loan and forfeit the property and vehicles she bought using the loan proceeds. A date for formal entry of her guilty plea has not been set. Once Wilhite enters a plea, the case will be set for sentencing. Wilhite faces enhanced punishment under federal sentencing guidelines because she misrepresented that she was acting on behalf of a charitable religious organization, according to the terms of the plea agreement. Wilhite is the 3rd East Tennessean to face federal fraud charges in connection with COVID relief funding in recent months. The cases are part of what the Justice Department has called an epic swindle of COVID relief funding that has taken place since Congress began authorizing money to help businesses and citizens impacted by the 2020 pandemic. So that's the end of the article. What I have to say, honestly, karma's come back to bite her. All of the things that she did have finally come to fruition, and she's finally having to pay for the things that she did, you know? My only thing is I really feel bad for the brides who never got a refund, because I highly doubt that that will come ever at this point. Given the fact that she's agreed to pay back almost $340,000 of this loan, she's going to be in debt for a long time. She's probably going to have to file bankruptcy, and I highly doubt that anybody's going to see any refunds from her. So that part is just devastating. Like, I can't imagine if we didn't have the connections that we did, knowing that I would not have had food or wedding cake at my wedding is absolutely devastating. It's a horrible thought, and I know for a fact that there are other brides who were not as in a good of position as me and didn't have the privileges that I had to save their wedding and get a quick turnaround like I did. So yeah, my heart breaks for those brides and those people and those families who had to go through this and didn't have the connections that we had in order to emergency cater the wedding. Yeah, I just can't imagine. And then to not get your refund afterwards is just devastating. And I'm glad that she's finally having to pay for all of the things she did, and she's not just turned around and start owning another successful business, you know, or apparently successful business while scamming many other brides. Because I know even in December of last year, I had sources that were telling me that she was still taking money from new brides for weddings set in 2022. So this was around the time that she would have gotten that loan from the SBA. I'm not surprised that she continued to try to scam people, but I mean, I feel like it's just a stupid move to claim that you need COVID relief funds for a business that doesn't exist, because it's pretty easy to trace back that it doesn't exist and that you're, you know, falsifying documents for it. I feel like she could have just as easily gotten a COVID relief loan for the Happy Pine Cone, or maybe even for Malachi 3 if she really wanted to. But that's not to say that that money would have gone to anything else if she had gotten it for either one of those businesses. So it's pretty obvious that her goal and her intentions never were to pay back any of the money that she owed to people that she scammed. And, you know, her goal was to just enrich herself and just pay down her own loans and buy a trip to Disney World and buy 3 different cars and a travel trailer for herself just because she could, and because, you know, she got the money for herself and she didn't care about repaying any of the people that she had wronged and hurt. So yeah, that's the update. I guess if any new updates come up, I will film another video and update you guys once again. Let me know in the comments what you think. I was absolutely baffled by this because, like, my caterer went to federal prison. Like, never in my life did I think that I would have a story like this to tell. It's absolutely baffling. Honestly, if anybody had told me this story, I would have a hard time believing it was true if it didn't happen to me. I guess the overall outcome of this is my caterer went to federal prison. She went to jail, and she deserved it. That's all the updates I have for right now. I would be surprised if I had any more updates, but you know, she's gotten herself in quite a bit of trouble, and she's gonna have a hard time from here on out. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to check out the video that I made prior to this, documenting my story time of when my caterer canceled on me the morning of my wedding. Check out my other playlists on my channel if you guys are interested. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.